Hello students. Last session we have finished the theoretical concepts of electrochemistry. Now next 3 sessions we will be discussing objective questions from the same chapter. A copy of the question bank from Transcend study material of EduShrine is being shared in your WhatsApp groups. From that particular question bank only I am going to solve questions in this particular session and next 2 more sessions. Now let me explain you how it works. Listen to me carefully and please follow these instructions. See, I am not going to discuss all the 60 questions present in that question bank. Few I am going to skip. Very few, of course. I am going to skip to save some of time and to allow you to solve simpler questions. Okay. Now, I will be putting the question number of the question which I am discussing. As soon as you check the question number that I am marking, you pause this video, take up that question, take 2 to 3 minutes. Actually, in entrance exams, average of 1.5 to 2 minutes you get. So try to spend 2 minutes. Understand, approach, get your answer, or at least try getting your answer. Then play the video and check the solution that I have explained. If you simply look at the question without even reading and understanding the question and understanding what we need to do there, if you simply listen to my solution, there is no meaning in listening to this video. So don't ignore my instructions. Read the question, attempt doing it, then try to check the answers. Shall we start? Okay. I would like to start off with question number 3 of this worksheet. Okay. I am having my own script here. I may not be writing the whole question or all the details. Depending upon the situation, I will be doing it. So please have the question bank with you and follow the instructions. Now proceeding. See, in this question, standard electrode potential for I2 to become I-1 is given, that is 0.53 volts, and standard electrode potential for bromine to bromide ion is given, that is 1.09 volts. Now I need to write the options, otherwise I can't explain the question. Can I2 reduce bromide? Can Br2 reduce iodide? Or can iodide reduce bromine? Or can bromide reduce iodine? These are the options in this question. Now, please let us understand the senseless options in this question. See, in entrances always, while understanding the question, while solving many entrance corners from EPL also I have told you, read along with the options, and while reading the options itself, you must get some idea of how to eliminate the options. Senseless options, meaningless options, or irrelevant options, inappropriate options, whatever you call them. Okay? Now, see, which are the senseless options? Let us eliminate them. For understanding that, let me call the element as X2, the halogen as X2, and its anion as X minus. Then tell me, halogen is in its zero oxidation state. The major thing it can undergo, halogens being electronegative, the important reaction they can undergo are reduction. That is, if it is X2, it can gain 2 electrons and become 2X minus. Similarly, X minus, already it is formed as an anion, means it has already gained electron. So the only reaction it can undergo is to lose those 2 electrons and become X2. Understood? Now you see, the elemental halogen can undergo reduction, hence it is an oxidizing agent, whereas the halide ion can undergo oxidation, hence it is a reducing agent. So please understand, simple common sense from your knowledge of first year redox reactions, that elemental halogen can act as oxidizing agent, halide ion can act as reducing agent. Now look at the first 2 options. He is telling iodine reduces bromide or bromine reduces iodide, means he is telling that elemental halogen is the reducing agent. He wants it to reduce the substance. Elemental halogen cannot act as reducing agent. It can act as only oxidizing agent. Point number 1. Point number 2, he is saying Br minus is getting reduced or I minus is getting reduced. Br minus getting reduced means gaining electrons. Can halogen after forming halide ion take more electrons? You know their valency is 1. They can take 1 electron, that's all. So these two options are senseless. Done. Now our answer is in between option C and D. Now decide quickly between C and D what is the answer. Now I minus reduces Br2 means, please understand, iodide has to act as reducing agent, that means it should undergo oxidation. Similarly, Br minus to act as reducing agent to reduce iodine, it has to undergo oxidation. Now out of Br minus and I minus, whichever more readily undergoes oxidation is a stronger reducing agent and that can do the job. Now to undergo oxidation more readily, their electrode potential, which by convention means reduction potential, should be low. Out of the two, which has got lower electrode potential? Iodine. Since it has lower electrode potential, iodide ion has more tendency for oxidation than bromide ion. The one which readily undergoes oxidation acts as a good reducing agent. So iodide reduces bromine is correct, bromide reducing iodine is incorrect. At least this is theoretically sensible statement. Non-spontaneous, that's all. But otherwise theoretically you can put on paper. Whereas these two theoretically also meaningless. So we have jotted down to one answer called option C. Moving on to question number 5. Okay. The electrode potential value of reduction of zinc is given. Very familiar value, minus 0.76 volts. Electrode potential value for nickel 2 plus to become nickel is given, minus 0.23 volts. And another familiar value, ferrous to become iron is given, that is minus 0.44 volts. You know very well, zinc, nickel, iron, all the three are electropositive elements. So they readily undergo oxidation. So obviously their reduction potentials are negative. They can all displace hydrogen from its acids. Now, the question is, in place of X and Y2 plus, if which elements are there, X plus Y2 plus gives rise to X2 plus Y will be a spontaneous reaction. So simple. For this reaction to be spontaneous, who should be what? That is the question. Understood, right? Now, I'm going to the solution, but what you need to do, you know it. Now, see, X is displacing Y2 plus ions from its aqueous solution so that Y2 plus gets reduced to Y and gets deposited. X gets oxidized to X2 plus and gets entering into the solution as ions. So please understand, the element which is displacing undergoes oxidation, the element whose ions get displaced undergoes reduction. Point. Now, to undergo oxidation, just similar to previous question, to undergo oxidation, the element must be having lower electrode potential or higher electrode potential. You are absolutely right, lower electrode potential. So, among the three elements, the one with lowest potential can displace the rest of the two. Which is having the lowest electrode potential? Zinc is having the lowest electrode potential. Minus 0.76 is lowest, then comes minus 0.44, then comes minus 0.23. So, minus 0.76 being lowest, zinc can displace both nickel ions and ferrous ions. Now, please check your options. In how many options do you have zinc in the place of X? There is only one option, option A, where they have given X is zinc and Y is nickel, which is absolutely possible. Okay, then so that's your answer. Option A is your answer. Let us rule out the remaining options. See, In option 2, he is telling X is nickel. No more discussion about it because nickel has got the largest potential. Largest potential means among the three elements, its tendency for reduction is highest. It cannot undergo oxidation in the place of X in this reaction. So, option B is ruled out. Then coming to option C, ruled out on the same reasons. Here also X is given as nickel. Then coming to option D, X is given as iron and Y is given as zinc. Again the same problem. Zinc having lowest potential cannot be displaced by any of the remaining two elements. So, zinc be in the place of Y is impossible. Nickel in the place of X is impossible. That's why options B, C, D can be ruled out. Understood? So, this is again based on the applications of electrochemical series that we have learned when we were discussing theory. So, it's very simple and clear. Three elements given, which can displace the others is asked, and the one with lowest electrode potential being most electropositive, because a more electropositive element displaces a less electropositive element, ions of a less electropositive element from its salt solution. To be most electropositive, its electrode potential should be lowest. That is the case. Okay. Now I am switching to question number 6, the adjacent questions we got. In question number 6, if you notice, copper / copper 2 plus with 1 molar concentration and silver cations with 1 molar concentration / silver. For this cell, the cell potential was found to be 0.46 volts it seems. Then zinc / zinc 2 plus 1 molar concentration / copper 2 plus 1 molar concentration / copper. The cell potential for this cell was found to be 1.1 volts it seems. It's a familiar value. This is Daniell cell. You know it very well. Then they are asking what will be the E0 cell value of zinc silver ion electrode. Again, everywhere 1 molar concentrations indicates that he is talking about standard electrode potentials and standard cell potentials only. And there are two ways of approaching this question. One way here is, we know very well as long as he is saying SRP values, copper, zinc and silver are such a familiar elements that in plenty of problems we use their SRP values. Zinc is minus 0.76, silver is plus 0.80, copper is plus 0.34. Now it's very clear. You get the silver is cathode, zinc is anode, so you can write E0 cell is equal to 0.8 minus of minus becomes plus 0.76. You can add the things. Okay, 6, 8 plus 5, 7 is 15. So 1.56 volts will be your answer. Whichever the option that was. I have not marked the options here. Wherever from options point of view it has to be discussed, I am worrying about marking the options. You can check. Now, because zinc and silver were very familiar elements and we had values in our mind. Now there are two problems. Every time in such a question, zinc, copper, silver need not be given. Other unfamiliar elements may be given, number one. Number two, the values of zinc, silver and copper may be familiar to me, but they need not be familiar to you. That's why, if I don't have the standard electrode potential values of any elements by hearted in my mind or memorized in my mind, how do I approach this question? Please understand. See here, the electrode reaction is going to be copper plus 2 moles of silver plus giving rise to copper 2 plus 2 moles of silver. So here the number of electrons involved will be 2. Similarly, here zinc plus copper 2 plus giving rise to zinc 2 plus copper. Here the number of electrons involved in this case also will be 2. Now, the required equation is zinc plus Ag plus giving rise to zinc 2 plus silver. Here also 2 moles of silver cation and 2 moles of silver will be required. Now what he has done? He has given you electrode potentials for 2 reactions and he has asked electrode potential for a third reaction which can be obtained by doing some mathematical operation, either addition or subtraction between given equations. Are you finding this familiar with any similar questions we have solved? Yes. There in when I was discussing free energy change concepts or exercise related to free energy change, we have solved a similar question in terms of SRP values. Here they have given you in terms of cell potential values. There I have told you very clearly that electrode potential is not an not an extensive property, it is an intensive property. That's why when equations get added, you get a new equation. Their electrode potentials cannot be simply added to get the third electrode potential. So we had to actually use delta G naught is equal to minus NF E naught 3 formula. Minus NF E naught formula. That way if you see, for this equation, delta G naught 1 is equal to minus NF E naught 1. For this equation, delta G naught 2 is equal to minus N2F E naught 2. Now you please observe. By the way, by doing what to these two equations you get this equation? First let us work on that. See, you want zinc in the reactants. Here also you have zinc in the reactants. You want silver plus in the reactants. Here also there is silver plus in the reactants. You want zinc 2 plus in the products. Here zinc 2 plus in the products and 2 silvers in the products. That means copper should get cancelled, copper ion should get cancelled. For that to happen, it is enough if you simply add. So, simple. If you add these two, what happens? Copper gets cancelled, copper 2 plus gets cancelled. You will be left with this. So, equation 3 is equal to equation 1 plus equation 2. Therefore, delta G naught 3 must be equal to delta G naught 1 plus delta G naught 2. But look at this. In the delta G naught 1 and delta G naught 2 values, number of electrons are same in both cases, 2 electrons. And Faraday is constant. So, when both of them are constant, what is the only parameter left now? E naught 1 and E naught 2. So, directly I can add E naught 1 plus E naught 2. So, please understand, since the electrons are same, we are adding the electrode potentials. Otherwise, simply you can't add electrode potential because it is an intensive property. Okay. So, having said that, it is a shortcut of course. 0.46 plus 1.1 gives you 1.56 volts, which was as per the SRP values present in the electrochemical series. Clear? That was question number 6. This question is actually based on free energy and cell potential. Okay. So get ready with your question bank. The next question I am switching to is 8th question, which is similar to the 6th question which we have done. But still, I felt like repeating it because it's a regularly asked model. You need a little practice over that. Okay. Question number 8. But as I have already told you, it is absolutely similar to question number 6. And if I am not wrong, you had this in your home exercise in EPL also. But just to ensure, because some of you, I am not pretty sure, all of you would have solved the home exercise. That's why just to ensure you become familiar with this model, I am doing it again. That's why pause the video, solve it and then get back to it. Okay. See, for cuprous ion to get reduced with 2 electrons, the SRP value is 0.337 volts. It's actually 0.34. You can round off. The SRP value for same cuprous ion to gain cupric ion. Same cupric ion to gain 1 electron to become cuprous, the SRP value is 0.153 volts. Now he is asking you for this, let me call this as equation 3. For cuprous ion to gain 1 electron and become metallic copper, what will be the E naught value? That is the question. Let me call it E naught 1, E naught 2 and let me call it E naught 3. Now, absolutely similar approach. What to do with these two equations to get this equation? perform the same mathematical operation on their free energy values. From the relation of free energy value, that minus NF E naught is equal to delta G, you derive E naught 3. That is the strategy. Even now you can pause it and try if you did not get it previously. Now, I need copper plus 1 in the reactants, whereas out of both equations, in the second equation copper plus 1 is in the products. So addition of these two equations may not give this. Let us justify that further. I need metallic copper in the products. Here I have got metallic copper in the products only. That means if this equation is subtracted from this equation, I would get this. Let us check that. See, Cu2 plus minus Cu2 plus gets cancelled. Wow, out from 2 electrons, 1 electron will be cancelled. And then this is minus Cu plus 1 comes this side. So that becomes Cu plus 1 plus 1 electron gives rise to Cu. So by adding, by subtracting equation 2 from equation 1, you get equation 3. Equation 3 is equal to equation 1 minus equation 2. Therefore, delta G naught 3 is equal to delta G naught 1 minus delta G naught 2. What is delta G naught 1? Minus N1 F E naught 1. What is E naught 1? 0.337. I'll take it as 0.34. And what is N1? 2 electrons. So minus 2 into 0.34 F, okay, minus of, here delta G naught 2 was a positive value again. So, and the number of electrons is 1. So plus 1 into 0.153 F. So what happens? Minus 0.34 into 2, 0.68, minus 0.68 F minus 0.153 F is equal to delta G, G naught 3. Let us subtract. 0.68 minus 0.153, 10 minus, or shall I take 3, it's okay. So 10 minus 3 is 7. 7 minus 5 will be 2 and 5 minus 1 will be 4. So, oh, I'm sorry, both are negative values, right? Sorry, I had to add them. 3, 8, 5, 13, 6, 2, 8. So minus 0.833. So minus 0.833 F must be the value of delta G naught 3. But what is delta G naught 3? Minus N3 F E naught 3. So minus N3 F E naught 3 is equal to minus 0.833 F. F gets cancelled. N3 is 1. So minus minus gets cancelled. So E naught 3 is equal to 0.833. Understood now? So whenever a set of equations and their electrode potentials are given and another equation and its electrode potential is asked, perform a mathematical operation between the given equations to check doing what you get the required equation. Then perform the same mathematical operation to their free energy values. And free energy comes from minus NF E naught. Using that relation, simplify and get the required E naught value. Same approach whenever a similar question comes. Okay. Next I am taking up the very adjacent question, question number 9. Go through it and try yourself. Not that I am continuously reminding, but that's what you need to do. So, you are yet to learn a chapter called coordination compounds, where chemistry of such ions you will in detail understand. These are called complex ions, where a set of simple ions entering into coordinate covalent bond and forming a new ion called complex ion, where the individual ions will not ionize. It will ionize like this as whole, and in this case this is called ferrocyanide ion. What ion? Ferrocyanide ion. Let me explain you, but before that, this ferrocyanide ion FeCN6 4 minus is becoming FeCN6 3 minus, which is called ferricyanide. So this is ferrocyanide and this is ferricyanide. I'll tell you the differences. Next, it's very evident in this equation itself that ferrocyanide to become ferricyanide, it is going to lose 1 electron, and he has given you the E naught value. How much? Minus 0.35 volts. Not very happy, not very happy to undergo oxidation, as you can notice. Okay. Then ferrous ion to become ferric ion by losing the same 1 electron, the E naught value, this is a familiar value, 0.77 volts. Now he is asking the strongest oxidizing agent among the 4 substances. Which are the 4 substances he is mentioning? This, and this. Means ferrocyanide, ferricyanide, ferrous, ferric. Out of the 4 species, he is asking the strongest oxidizing agent. Again, we can rule out the senseless options. Which will be the senseless options here? See, both equations shown to you in the reaction are oxidations, loss of electrons. That means both the potentials mentioned here also are oxidation potentials, standard oxidation potentials, not reduction potentials. Now, a species that is undergoing oxidation acts as a good reducing agent. A species undergoing oxidation acts as a reducing agent, and that way if you see both these are reducing agents, so they are out of discussion. So these 2 options we can remove. Ferrocyanide and ferrous we can remove because from the given information their reducing capacity cannot be assessed. Now these 2 can be their oxidizing capacity cannot be assessed because they are reducing agents, but these 2 can act as oxidizing agents because they are undergoing reduction. Take the reverse of this reaction. If you take the reverse of this reaction, ferricyanide gaining 1 electron to become ferrocyanide, the electrode potential will be plus 0.35. Ferrous gaining 1 electron to become ferric gaining 1 electron to become ferrous. If I'll write it down. So ferricyanide gains 1 electron and becomes ferrocyanide, then the electrode potential will be reduction potential in this case, and the value will be plus 0.35 volts. Ferric ion gaining 1 electron and becomes ferrous ion, so this will also be reduction potential, and reduction potential will be plus 0.77 volts in this case. Now, because these undergoing reduction, it can act as oxidizing agent. Because these undergoing reduction, it can act as oxidizing agent. Out of the 2, whichever is more readily undergoing reduction is a better oxidizing agent. And whichever is more readily undergoing reduction, how do we know it? More the electrode potential value, more the capacity for reduction. Who is more readily undergoing reduction? Ferric. That's why ferric is the strongest oxidizing agent among the 4. Okay, that is question number 9. Again, an application based on applications of electrochemical series. Okay. I am switching to question number 14, which is, I think, another question based on applications of electrochemical series only. Ferrous ion to gain 2 electrons and become iron, it takes a potential of minus 0.44 volts, a familiar value. Ferric to gain 1 electron and become ferrous, another familiar value, 0.77 volts. Then he is asking if a solution containing ferrous ions, a solution containing ferric ions, and a solid iron block are kept together, then what happens? He has asked you whether ferrous concentration decreases or ferric concentration decreases or ferric concentration increases or both the concentrations remain unchanged. This was the question. Right. Now you observe here. Ferrous can undergo reduction with a potential of minus 0.44 volts. Ferric can undergo reduction with a potential of plus 0.77 volts. which has got more capacity to undergo reduction. Which one? Ferrous, right? So ferrous can undergo reduction. Then when ferrous undergoes reduction, what happens? That means, please understand, out of these two ions only one can participate. Then the other participant would obviously be iron block. So here what happens if this reaction happens? Now for iron to become ferrous, the electrode potential is minus 0.44 volts. That means iron can undergo oxidation in the presence of ferric ions, and ferric ions can undergo reduction in the place of iron, because reduction potential for ferric to become ferrous is more. Understand? That's why here the anodic reaction will be iron would lose 2 electrons and become ferrous. Because this has lower potential, this will act as anode. When it acts as anode, the oxidation should occur, and oxidation would be reverse of this reaction. Logic? Then cathode would be ferric ions gaining 1 electron and becoming ferrous ions. Okay? Now if you want to have the net reaction, you will have to multiply this with 2. So what happens? Fe plus 2 Fe3 plus 2 electrons would get cancelled, giving rise to 2 Fe2 plus. 2 Fe2 plus. Here what is happening? Iron is undergoing oxidation to become ferrous. Ferric is undergoing reduction to become the same ferrous. Okay. Now this would be a spontaneous reaction. Even if you calculate E0 cell value, you would get a positive value. This is reduction V2. So 0.77 minus of minus becomes plus 0.44. So overall you will get a positive electrode potential value, saying that this reaction will be spontaneous. I have given way more explanation than required. Now let me conclude. Because this is happening, ferrous concentration should decrease because it is being consumed. Whereas, sorry, why am I keep calling ferric as ferrous? Pardon me. Ferric concentration should keep decreasing because it is being consumed. Ferrous concentration should keep increasing because it is being formed by both the halves. Oxidation half also is giving rise to ferrous, reduction half also is giving rise to ferrous. So ferrous concentration increases, ferric concentration decreases. Which is the correct option given to us? Ferrous concentration decreases, correct option. He did not give anywhere ferrous increases. So option A will be our answer. You can correlate with the options given. Okay. I am taking up next the very adjacent question, question number 15. Okay, please go through the question. Now he is saying in zinc 2 plus / zinc electrode, the concentration of solution containing zinc ions is reduced by 100 times. Means it is made 100th of the existing concentration. Then means existing concentration means you can consider it as 1 molar concentration for SRP value. So for SRP conditions, the value is going to be so much, whatever it could be, which we call it as E0 Zn 2 plus / Zn. So from E0 Zn 2 plus / Zn value, what would happen to the electrode potential if the concentration of zinc ions is reduced 100 times? Options given to you are increases by 59 millivolts, decreases by 59 millivolts, increases by 29.5 millivolts, and decreases by 29.5 millivolts. Right? Now let us remove the senseless options. To remove senseless options, let me write the basic equation required. Have you understood by now which equation to be used here? You are absolutely right, Nernst equation. The electrode reaction is zinc ion gaining 2 electrons to become zinc solid. Now, electrode potential of zinc in non-standard conditions are other than 1 molar concentration is equal to SRP value of zinc plus, we can either take plus or minus. I have told you many times, log of concentration of reactant by concentration of product if you take, then plus. Log of product concentration by reactant concentration if you take, minus. Both are same. So 0.059 by 2 log concentration of Zn2 plus. Solid zinc I can ignore because its concentration is going to be equal to 1. Now, senseless options to be removed. See, when zinc 2 plus concentration is 1 molar exactly, we have discussed it way many times. Zinc 2 plus concentration is 1 molar. When it is 1 molar, log 1 is 0, so this whole value becomes 0. So SRP value and this value will be same, that is nothing but SRP value. Whereas, if this goes more than 1 molar, log of a value more than 1 will be positive. So this whole value becomes positive, gets added to this. So this will be greater than this. So you should get a value larger, that means value should increase. Whereas, log of this, the concentration goes less than 1 molar, log of any value less than 1 molar will be negative. Because it will be negative, something gets subtracted, so the value of this will be less than SRP. That means, since here it is diluted 100 times, that means concentration is decreased to 100. The electrode potential from SRP value should increase or decrease? It must decrease. But you have two options, increase. So options A and C can be eliminated from the list. By the way, I am explaining it to you so much, that's why it is taking a bit time. But when you are answering the same question in the exams, how should be your response? Calculation should happen in the mind itself, because you have solved plenty of non-stick questions by now. By now in the sense, by the time you attempt that entrance. That's why, while reading the question itself, you should understand concentration is reduced, so value obtained should be less than E naught value. So there should be decrease, so option A and C should be removed from the list. Now quantitatively we should decide which from option B and D. Okay, see here. E naught Zn2 plus slash Zn plus 0.059 by 2 log 10 power minus 2. Because it is concentration is reduced to 100 means 0.01 it is going to be 0.01 means log 10 power minus 2. Now I am not spending any time on doing calculations, it's easy. Log A power m is m log A, I have told you. So minus 2 log 10 it's going to be, I will do it here. Minus 2 log 10. Log 10 is 1, so remove it. Minus 2, 2 gets cancelled. Negative value comes here, it has to be subtracted, we understood. Since 2 is getting cancelled, how much is getting subtracted from SRP value? 0.059 volts is getting subtracted from SRP value. 0.059 volts is nothing but 59 millivolts. So decreases by 59 millivolts. Clear? I think you are finding the questions easy, right? I'm glad if you find the questions easy. But don't worry, challenging questions coming up. Next I am jumping to question number 17. Please go through the question. See, solid silver chloride, you know very well it is a sparingly soluble salt, acts as a cathode and gains an electron to form silver metal and liberates aqueous chloride ions. You know very well. Whenever such an electrode is used, remember we have discussed metal, insoluble salt of metal, and aqueous solution of a soluble salt containing anions common to the insoluble salt. That is the kind of electrode it is. That's why there will be an aqueous solution containing chloride ions here. So the chloride ions formed from insoluble silver chloride are entering into aqueous potassium chloride or sodium chloride, whatever is used there. I have told you already, it acts as a reservoir of chloride ions. And the electrode potential for this is given to be 0.22 volts. Now, silver cation gains one electron, aqueous silver cation gains one electron to form silver solid, for which you know a familiar value, 0.8 volts. Okay. Now he is asking solubility product of AgCl. what you can do is to go back to your ionic equilibrium from first year and quickly revise the concept of sparingly soluble salt and the concept of solubility product. However, as a part of my duty, I am also doing it here. Already while discussing few concepts in electrochemistry theory, I have reminded you what are sparingly soluble salts. Any salt that dissolves in very small quantity in its solutions, less than 10 power minus 3 molar, then you call it sparingly soluble salt. All those salts which generally formed as precipitates when they are formed in solution are sparingly soluble salts. Recollecting? Now, say you know AgCl is a sparingly soluble salt. AgCl solid, when dissolved in water, it forms Ag plus aqueous plus Cl minus aqueous. Now look at this ionic equilibrium. Please understand, it is not the equilibrium between aqueous AgCl and aqueous ions. No, because salts are strong electrolytes. How much ever dissolves, entire amount ionizes. None of it will be left behind, unlike your weak acids like acetic acid. Acetic acid molecules dissolve in water because of their ability to form intermolecular hydrogen bonds. They dissolve in water. But among the dissolved molecules, only few will form ions. Remaining will remain undissociated molecules. Sparingly soluble salts are not like that. Because it is a salt and because salts are strong electrolytes, entire dissolved amount will form ions. But problem with these fellows is they don't dissolve at all. That's why the undissolved solid will be entering into the solution, part of it, and whichever is entering into the solution is forming ions. So please understand, the forward process ionization, backward process combination is not the case here. Forward process represents the dissolution and backward process represents the precipitation. This is the ionic equilibrium in sparingly soluble salt. So undissolved salt undergoing dissolution and entering into solution, how much ever enters into solution completely becomes ions. Then backward process, the formed ions combine and precipitate as the undissolved salt. If you write equilibrium constant for this, concentration of Ag plus into concentration of Cl minus aqueous divided by concentration of AgCl solid. Now you know very well, if you add say 1 mole of it, 0.000001 moles of it might dissolve. Means majority of it remains undissolved. That means concentration of undissolved solid is almost constant. So if I bring it this side, equilibrium constant into concentration of AgCl, which is another constant, product of two constants is a new constant, and that is your solubility product. Because I was not sure how much you remember concept of solubility product from first year, I quickly revised it. So solubility product is the product of concentrations of ions of the sparingly soluble salt, each ion concentration raised to the power of its respective coefficients in the balanced equation representing the ionic equilibrium. In this case, the coefficients are just 1 each. That's fine. Now moving ahead, coming to this problem, see here, you can clearly notice this has a lower reduction potential than this. That means this is going to be anode, the first one is going to be anode, the second equation is going to be cathodic reaction. That means silver cations gain electrons to become silver, whereas solid silver in the presence of aqueous chloride ions from the KCl or NaCl undergoes oxidation to become silver chloride. So this is oxidation, this is reduction. So if you write the net cell reaction, what happens? You reverse it and add both. So Ag plus Cl minus giving rise to AgCl plus 1 electron, of course. Ag plus 1 electron giving rise to Ag. Electron gets cancelled, silver solid gets cancelled, so you are left with Ag plus aqueous plus Cl minus aqueous giving rise to AgCl solid. So this is the reaction. Now let me write the Nernst equation for this. Okay. I have a space issue, so hope I'll be erasing this. So let's write Nernst equation for this cell reaction. Okay. So E cell is equal to E naught cell plus 0.059 by, there is only one electron involved, so 1 electron log of, because I am taking plus here, concentration of reactants by concentration of products. Log of concentration of aqueous Ag plus into concentration of aqueous Cl minus. Okay. Divided by concentration of AgCl solid I can take, but you know for pure solids we take 1, so I will retain it as it is. From this logic, from this overall what do you understand? Product of concentration of Ag plus and Cl minus is nothing but solubility product. So in the place of product of Ag plus and Cl minus I can put KSP. That is what I need to calculate in the problem. Now what else do I need for this? E naught cell. Now this was the anodic reaction we took, this was the cathodic reaction we took. So E naught cell is equal to E naught cathode, that is 0.8, minus E naught anode, which was 0.22. If you take, you will get 0.58 volts. So, and what to calculate this KSP, you need E cell value also. But it is clearly mentioned equilibrium, right? At equilibrium, there will be no cell flow of electrons, so cell potential will be 0. So E cell is 0, 0 is equal to E naught cell is 0.58, which I got here, plus 0.059 log KSP. I am taking it in the place of this one. Then 0.059 log KSP is equal to minus 0.58. Log KSP is equal to minus 0.58 by 0.059. See, digits are different. That makes huge difference when it comes to rest of the calculations, taking anti-logs and all. But we have options. They are helpful for us. If it were board exam, I have to simplify it accurately. I have to get the anti-log value, etc. But here, I can go rounding off. Now, if you check, this should divide this one 10 times. So, log of KSP will be minus 10. So, KSP will be 10 power minus 10. Now, if you notice, you have two values. Option C was also given 3.2 into 10 power minus 10. Option D was also given 1.5 into 10 power minus 10. Remaining option A and B were, of course, 10 power minus 8 or something. 10 power minus 8 it was. So, no issues. Options A and B are ruled out. Now, out of option C and D, which one would you select? Common sense. It is closest to 10 power minus 10. Which is closest to 10 power minus 10? 1.5 into 10 power minus 10. You can move with that value. I'll quickly revise this question. They have given you two equations, both oxidations, both reductions they have given you. But we understood from the electrode potentials which must be cathode, which must be anode, and we analyzed the cell reaction. In that cell reaction, we have aqueous Ag plus and Cl minus, and already we have an expression for KSP, product of Ag plus and Cl minus. In our Nernst equation, the product of Ag plus and Cl minus is substituted by KSP value, and the substituted value we have taken here, and from the electrode reactions we have found SRP values, standard cell potential value, because they have given SRPs for each reaction. Now, because it is mentioned equilibrium, we took E cell 0 and simplified and got our answer. Okay? I'm sorry if I have made it very clumsy. Problem was a little lengthy, but board was a little short. I'm going to the very adjacent question number 18. Now, you can keep noticing by the end of this worksheet, that is question number 60, that plenty of questions cumulated with equilibrium chapter of first year. If you really need to answer electrochemistry questions strongly on NEET and JEE level, please revise equilibrium from first year, that too especially ionic equilibrium part. Stronger you are at ionic equilibrium part, better you would solve the electrochemistry questions. Clear? And at the same time, while revising these questions, the concepts of equilibrium also keep getting revised for you. Now, question number 18 also such a similar question which involves the concept of equilibrium. Okay. So in your question, the equilibrium arrow was not used, but I will use it here. Solid zinc reducing H plus ions from a suitable acid to form zinc 2 plus and liberating hydrogen gas. You know, it is a typical hydrogen displacement reaction, metal displacing hydrogen from aqueous solution of any acid. Now, sulfuric acid is added to cathode. By the way, you can clearly understand here, zinc is undergoing oxidation, so this is cathode. Hydrogen is undergoing reduction, so this is what did I do? Sorry. Zinc is undergoing oxidation, so it is anode. Hydrogen is undergoing reduction, so it is cathode. When I speak fast, I am absent-minded, bear with me, okay? And this is video, you can rewind it and see what mistake I have done and how I have corrected myself, okay? So since hydrogen is cathode, he is telling sulfuric acid is added to this electrode. That means in hydrogen electrode, he is increasing the concentration of H plus. He is increasing the concentration of H plus by adding sulfuric acid. Now his question is, that addition will do what? Two things he is asking. This addition, what will it do to value of potential, that is E naught cell, whether it will increase or decrease, were two options. And what will it do to equilibrium, whether it will shift to right or it will shift to left. So your four options were E naught cell increases, E naught cell decreases, equilibrium shifts to right, equilibrium shifts to left. Based on this the question was. Now let us analyze. I'll explain you what happens. You select a suitable option. See, first, to understand what happens to E naught value, I need to write the Nernst equation. By the way, it is balanced. So E cell is equal to E naught cell plus 0.059 by 2 electrons involved here, log of concentration of H plus squared, concentration of solid zinc I am ignoring, into divided by concentration of zinc 2 plus into partial pressure of hydrogen. This would be the Nernst equation. In this Nernst equation, you are clearly understanding that E cell value is directly proportional to the square of H plus concentration. So more the H plus concentration, more will be the cell potential, value of cell potential. So since you have added H2SO4, since you are increasing H plus concentration, surely cell potential value will increase. First point to be noted. So cell potential increases. Then second one was about what happens to equilibrium, right? Now, to understand what happens to equilibrium, we need to apply Le Chatelier principle. And what does Le Chatelier principle say? Any change you try to do externally, the equilibrium will adjust itself in such a direction where the change you have done will be nullified, compensated. I have increased the concentration of H plus ions. Because I have increased the concentration of H plus ions, equilibrium would try to decrease the concentration of H plus ions. If concentration of H plus ions has to be decreased, should it undergo reaction or should it be produced? It should undergo reaction so that H plus ions will be consumed, right? That means equilibrium will shift towards forward direction. Forward, or in this case they have asked right side. So to answer what happens to electrode cell potential, we have used Nernst equation and understood that cell potential is directly proportional to H plus concentration. Since we have increased that, obviously cell potential also will increase. Number two we have understood is Since H plus concentration is increased, equilibrium will adjust itself to decrease its concentration. To decrease its concentration, it should go in the forward direction. Clear? That was question number 18. Again, electrochemistry cumulated with equilibrium. Now I am jumping to question number 20. See, keeping on changing concentrations of zinc and concentration of copper ions, cell potentials were found out, it seems. And then they have drawn a graph for cell potential versus log of ratio of zinc 2 plus by copper 2 plus, it seems. When they have drawn a graph, first of all, what kind of graph we will get, we will think, and then intercept of that graph was 1.1 volts, it seems. Then he is asking you, if Zn2 plus concentration is 0.1 molar and copper 2 plus concentration is 0.01 molar, then what would be the cell potential value at those concentrations, he is asking. See, this is simply a kind of build-up given around a simple direct question. Same question can be asked simply like calculate the cell potential for so and so concentrations. That was so easy. Instead of asking all that, instead of giving the standard cell potential directly, they have used a graph to give the standard cell potential. That's all. I'll tell you how. See, right now it's a Daniell cell he is talking about. So zinc plus copper 2 plus gives rise to zinc 2 plus copper. Now the Nernst equation for cell potential will be E cell is equal to E naught cell. If I take plus reactant by product, I will get, but here he wants product by reactant, zinc ion by copper ion. That's why I'll take minus here, minus 0.059 by 2 log concentration of zinc by concentration of copper. Now you observe here. This I am taking on y-axis, so E cell is y. Log of zinc 2 plus by copper 2 plus concentration I am taking on x-axis, so this is my x. Now how is the relation? Y is equal to minus mx plus c. Minus mx plus c, where slope will be 0.059 by 2. Minus 0.059 by 2. X-axis was this, y-axis was this. So you get a graph with negative slope intercepting the y-axis at this point. Now, what is C? Y-intercept. And what will be y-intercept here? E naught cell. So simple. Instead of directly telling standard cell potential is 1.1 volts, he told that they have drawn graphs. When they have drawn a graph, the intercept, y-intercept was 1.1 volts. So, he has given you E naught cell 1.1 volts indirectly saying it is the intercept. Then minus, he has given you concentrations of zinc and copper. How much? 0.1 and 0.01. Log of 0.1 by 0.01. He wants E cell now. 0.01 will divide this one 10 times. So log 10 is 1. So it is nothing but E cell is equal to 1.1 minus, as I told you, log 10 is 1. So 0.059 by 2 will be 0.0295, approximately 0.03. So E cell will be 1.1 minus 0.03. 7, 9, am I right? Yeah. 0.97 volts. So from 1.1 volts, it is reduced to 0.97 volts because the concentrations were decreased. Further, I am taking up the adjacent 21st question. See, a cell is given to you, platinum H2. Please note, they had to mention 1 atmosphere in the question, that 1 is missing out. He is trying to give you standard hydrogen electrode here. So they had to mention 1 atmosphere. 1 atmosphere, 1 bar, fine. That is missed out in this worksheet. You may note it. Slash H plus concentration must be 1 molar. So 1 atmosphere hydrogen, 1 molar H plus means he is talking about standard hydrogen electrode. So your anode is standard hydrogen electrode. That is pretty clear. Then cathode is ferric ion gaining electron and becoming ferrous ion at the interface of platinum. Because both are solutions, you need the interface of platinum. We could have mentioned slash here. Okay. Now we know this value, familiar value, but however they have given you in the question. E naught Fe3 plus slash Fe2 plus is equal to 0.77 volts. That is given to you. Then he is asking, what is the ratio of Fe2 plus to Fe3 plus? He is asking. Okay. Now, you are pretty clear that anode is standard hydrogen electrode. So if you want E naught cell, first let me write the cell reaction. Hydrogen is undergoing oxidation, ferric ion is undergoing reduction. So H2 gas plus aqueous ferric solution giving rise to aqueous H plus aqueous ferrous. This will be the reaction and I should be balancing it like this. If I balance 2 here, it is going to be 2 electrons. So in order to balance the electrons, I should put 2 here, 2 here. That way charges also must be balanced, you see. 2 into plus 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 6, 2 into plus 3 plus 6. That way if you see how many electrons will be involved, 2 electrons will be involved. Ferric to ferrous, 1 electron, but there are 2 moles, so 2 electrons in the net reaction if you take H plus this square. Now, if I calculate E naught cell, E naught cathode is 0.77 minus E naught anode will be 0. So E naught cell will also be 0.77 volts. Right. Now put it in the equation. E cell is equal to E naught cell plus, he wants concentration of Fe2 plus by Fe3 plus, that's why I'll take minus here. Okay. So E naught cell minus 0.059 by 2 log of products by reactants I'll have to take H plus square into Fe2 plus square divided by partial pressure of H2 into Fe3 plus square. Now you observe. This, he said 1 atmosphere, so this goes off in the expression. H plus concentration 1 molar, he said 1 square is 1, so this also goes off in the expression. And one more point to be noted. If I take 2 moles here, 0.059 by 2 it will come because 2 electrons it will be total. Whereas if I take this one, I can remove these squares so that I will get what I need. Okay. So I can write the final expression as E cell is equal to E naught cell minus 0.059 log of Fe2 plus concentration by Fe3 plus concentration. Now what I need is this ratio, right? Let me erase on the top. So E cell value is given 0.83 volts is equal to E naught cell is 0.77 volts as we have calculated minus 0.059 log x, I will call it because I need this ratio. Now 0.059 log x will be equal to 0.77 minus 0.83. Okay, 0.77 minus 0.83, which comes out to be minus 0.06. Now log x will be equal to minus 0.06 divided by 0.059. Now if it were board exam, we need to do it accurately and we need to give it in decimals, check anti-log and all. But here, because we have options, you can simplify. I'll assume this 0.059 as almost 0.06, then you get cancelled, minus 1 you will get. When log x is minus 1, x will be 10 power minus 1, that is 0.1. So the option which is nearest to 0.1 will be your answer. Whenever the options are not far away from each other, when we are not comfortable with rounding off and doing it, we will have to calculate accurately. Anti-log tables will be available. I have already taught you how to use anti-log and all. Okay, that is question number 21, again based on Nernst equation. Okay, now I am going to question number 23. Try and then get back to the solution. See, pH of the solution he told is 14. Fine. E naught value for reduction of copper ion, he has given 0.34, a familiar value. And he has given solubility product of cupric hydroxide, CuOH twice. Solubility product of cupric hydroxide as 10 power minus 19. With these three pieces of information, he is asking you to calculate the electrode potential of the electrode. Electrode potential of the electrode. Now, whenever I do not have a straight information to directly substitute and get the answer, whenever the information is indirect and I have more than one steps to solve, I always suggest to the students, begin with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind means, what is my final target? To get this, what is the basic formula? Put that formula and check what are the various elements required in that formula and see which elements are given directly, which elements are not given directly. And see how the hints given will be helpful in finding that information which is indirectly given. Okay, let us do that. You want, I'll divide the board into two halves. I'll put the final equation required this side and I'll get the information required to be gathered into this on the right side. Okay, let us see. See, to calculate electrode potential of copper at any concentrations other than 1 molar, the Nernst equation is electrode potential value is equal to standard electrode potential value plus 0.059 by 2, because copper is in +2 state, log of concentration of copper ions. Divide by concentration of copper will be there, but that will be equal to 1 because it is pure solid. Now in this, you have 0.34, you have 0.059 by 2. Only thing required is concentration of copper ions, means without directly giving some concentration of copper ions and then asking you to find out electrode potential, he has given you some other information, pH and KSP value. From this pH value and KSP value, you are supposed to get the concentration of copper and substitute here, get your final answer. Are you getting my point? Now, what is pH, what is KSP, and how am I supposed to get it? Simple. Again, go reverse. I have started with the end in mind, right? Likewise, here also go reverse. From what is KSP, just now we have understood. KSP is the product of concentration of the ions produced by that sparingly soluble salt. So here, copper Cu2 plus concentration into OH minus concentration square. Simple. So for copper hydroxide, the expression for KSP will be concentration of copper into concentration of OH minus square. Now KSP is given 10 power minus 19 is equal to concentration of copper is what I need. To get this parameter, what am I left with? OH minus concentration. Now to get that, we are getting this. So please understand. For getting your final answer, you need concentration of copper. Concentration of copper can be obtained from solubility product expression. From concentration of copper to be obtained from solubility product expression, I need hydroxyl ion concentration. That hydroxyl ion concentration can be obtained from pH value. Reverse. So, you know pH is equal to 14 minus pOH. What? See, here hydroxyl concentration is given. To get hydroxyl concentration, what I need is OH minus concentration, but pH gives you H plus concentration. That's why I am trying to get OH minus concentration. So pH is equal to 14 minus POH is equal to 14 minus pH. What is pH given? 14. So 14 minus 14 is 0. So please understand, my negative logarithm of OH minus concentration according to him is 0. Therefore, now negative logarithm of OH minus concentration is 0. Therefore, OH minus concentration is 1. You can get from the expression OH minus concentration is 1. Since OH minus concentration is 1, 1 square is 1, so copper ions concentration is nothing but 10 power minus 19. So simple that is. Now you have got 10 power minus 19 to be substituted here. Log of 10 power minus 19. Now as I told you, log a power m is m log a. So 0.34 plus 0.059 by 2 into minus 19 log 10. Log 10 is 1, so I am just putting minus 19 here. So 0.34 plus 0.059 by, sorry, this minus comes here. So 0.34 minus 0.059 by 2 into 19. Simplify this and get the electrode potential that you want. And please understand, the concentration is decreased to a great extent. From 1 molar, for which the value is 0.34, it is decreased to an extent of 10 power minus 19 molar. Means not just a drop in potential, there will be huge drop in potential. So you will end up getting negative value of electrode potential in this case, because the concentration is reduced very largely. If you accurately calculate, you will get minus 0.22 volts, which I think appears to be option D for you. Okay, that is question number 23. Again, please notice cumulated with equilibrium. If you have slightly tricky question in electrochemistry, that must be a question cumulated with equilibrium, ionic equilibrium particularly. If you really want command on this chapter, please revise ionic equilibrium once. Okay, it would be great if you could stop this video, revise ionic equilibrium and come back. Right, let's proceed. Now I am moving on to question number 24, the very adjacent question. See, reduction of copper is given. Copper seems to be examiner's favorite, repeatedly coming. Reduction of copper ions is given, and he has given you a graph, a question similar to one of the questions we have already previously solved. E reduction versus log of copper concentration. E reduction versus log of copper concentration. The graph obtained was like this. Obviously, it will be obtained like this. Why? CeCu2 plus slash Cu is equal to E naught Cu2 plus slash Cu plus 0.059 by 2 log of concentration of copper 2 plus is the Nernst equation. You know it, we have done it many times. Now you see, in x-axis you are taking log of concentration, so this is x. Y-axis you are taking the electrode potential value. So y is equal to mx plus c. Positive slope you are getting, so obviously the graph should slope upwards. And he is telling the point OA had a value 0.34 volts. Again, I am not spending much time on this. Instead of directly telling SRP value is 0.34. By the way, it is very familiar. Without worrying about anything, directly we can substitute and do it. Substituting 0.34 here. But if a similar question comes with unfamiliar elements, we should be able to understand by giving intercept, he is indirectly giving the SRP value, that's all. Now, he is asking if 0.1 molar concentration is given, what would be the electrode potential? Now, I think it's up to you. 0.34 plus 0.059 by 2 log 10 power minus 1, 0.1 means. Now, minus 1 log 10 it is going to be. So 0.34 minus 0.059 by 2. which will be 0.0295, which is almost equal to 0.03. So 0.34 minus 0.03. Subtract and get your answer. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. He did not even ask you to simplify. Sorry, I wasted your time. He did not even ask you to simplify. He has just asked you to give the expression, that's all. So you get ECU2 plus slash Cu as 0.34 minus 0.059 by 2. Okay, because log 10 is 1 minus 1. But what he has asked you in the question is not the reduction potential, but the oxidation potential. ECU slash Cu2 plus. So that is equal to, reverse it becomes, so minus 0.34 plus 0.059 by 2, which was your option A. Okay, that is your question number 24. Now, moving on to question number 25. See, he is asking you to draw a graph for E cell versus log of zinc 2 plus concentration by copper 2 plus concentration in case of Daniell cell. It is pretty clear here. Now he has given you 4 kinds of graphs. Option A was a graph sloping upwards, positive slope he has given. Option B was graph sloping downwards, negative graph he has given. Option C was parallel to each other, zero slope he has given. And option D, variation in the values he has given. Initially negative slope followed by positive slope and all. Now we have already solved 2 similar questions, so I am not spending much time on this. Quickly, in order to get zinc concentration by copper concentration, I will take negative. So E cell is equal to E naught cell minus 0.059 by 2 log of zinc concentration by log of copper concentration. Now you see, this is your x-axis, this is your y-axis. So y is equal to minus mx plus c, right? You are supposed to get what kind of slope? Negative slope, where the slope value being equal to 0.059 by 2 and intercept is supposed to be E naught cell. And E naught cell for Daniell cell is 1.1 volts. So everywhere he has given intercept to be 1.1 volts only, of course. But the graph where you get negative slope is the correct graph. That will be your option B. Okay. Then I am jumping to question number 28, students. It's a pretty direct question, by the way. Zinc slash Zn2 plus concentration being 0.01 molar double slash ferrous ion concentration 0.001 molar. Please check your worksheet. Here also the value is given as 0.01 molar. That was a typing mistake. The ferrous concentration was supposed to be 0.01 molar slash iron. So you have understood the cell. Now he has given to you that E cell was found to be 0.2905 volts. He has asked you the equilibrium constant value, K value. Now again, you see, for calculating equilibrium constant, the procedure is E naught cell is equal to 0.059 by n log K, right? From this formula, we can calculate K value. So, what you need is standard cell potential. He did not give you standard cell potential. Again, really, in order to save some time for us, zinc also is familiar, minus 0.76. Ferrous to iron also is familiar, minus 0.44. So, if needed, we can calculate E naught cell directly and put it here. Because it is zinc and iron and because the values are familiar to us. For those whom the values of SRPs of zinc and ferrous to iron are not familiar, and in case if any unfamiliar metals are given there, we cannot take chance. That's why I'll explain the procedure. So step 1 you will have to find E naught cell, then in step 2 you have to go here to find the K value. Now E naught cell, how do you find out? Use the Nernst equation for cell potential because he has already given you E cell. So first let me write the cell reaction. Zinc plus Fe2 plus gives rise to Zn2 plus iron, right? Now it is involving 2 electrons, as you can clearly see. So I can write E cell is equal to E naught cell plus 0.059 by 2 log concentration of reactants Fe2 plus by concentration of products Zn2 plus. Now E cell value is given to 0.2905 is equal to E naught cell, I'll keep calling it X to write it easily, plus 0.059 by 2 log of Fe2 plus was 0.001 by this was 0.01. So this will divide this one 10 times, so it is going to be 1 by 10, that is 10 power minus 1. Log of 10 power minus 1 is nothing but minus 1. Minus 1 log 10 is 1. So this multiplies minus 1, that's why the final value you are going to have is 0.2905 is equal to X minus 0.059 by 2, which will be 0.0295. So X will be equal to 0.2905. This comes this side, becomes plus 0.0295. 10, 9 plus 3, 12, 3. So the E naught cell value you got was 0.32 volts. Got it? Now substitute here. 0.32 is equal to 0.059 by 2 log K. So log K is equal to 0.32 into 2 by 0.059, which is 0.06 approximately. So 0.22 is 4, 2, 3, 6. So 0.64 divided by 0.06. So approximately 10 times. Log K will be 10, so K will be, I'm doing heavy approximation here. I don't think okay. Let us save some time here, man. Sorry, I was not observing the options, that's why I'm going on calculating. Options are not in a way that you have to calculate everything. Options are simply asking you to put it the way it is required. So log K is equal to I can say 0.32 into 2 by 0.059, right? 0.059 divides this and becomes 0.0295. So log K is equal to 0.32 by 0.0295. So K is equal to 10 to the power of 0.32 by 0.0295. So in all the options he has given E power something, 10 power something, etc. in terms of ratios. So this is your answer. I went on preaching you that we should keep having a look at the options, but here I was not looking at the options, I'm sorry. He did not ask us to simplify completely, he is just asking us to do like this. Where examiner feels why to trouble student going and checking anti-log tables and all, they will be giving options like this to keep you comfortable. Okay, so randomly picking the questions as per my judgment, I have discussed up to question number 28. In the middle there were some good questions, but I found some ambiguity in the information, maybe due to printing aspects or other things. That's why I have left them. I might try and come back with some of the questions in the middle also later. Okay, however, please revise whichever the questions you could not solve before I did. Please try to solve these questions again, keeping in mind the solutions I have provided you. Okay, I'll come back to you with 2 more sessions for solving objective worksheet of electrochemistry. Then we'll be moving on to the next chapter. Okay, thanks for listening to me. Bye.